one power, one power, one power, one power, one power. There's one power invisible, yet we see it everywhere in everything. There's one power indescribable, yet we speak of it in every word we say. Mysterious until you know the truth, as simple as the love inside of you. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, Hashem, or Heaven's Door. It's Muhammad, it's your mind, it's your soul, or it's your sign. It's the universe, it's music, Mother Earth or Father Time. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? Whatever name you give it, it's the very air we breathe. Oh, it's the power of the love in you and me. One power, one power, one power, one power, one power, one power.
Let's join our hearts together. And if you'd like, allow my words to be yours. As we move into our sacred Sunday morning time together, we recognize the one power of life. We know that this one power is infinite and intimate. This one power flows in me. This one power flows through me. This power flows as wisdom in me. This power flows as love in me. This one power flows as peace in me. My decision to be here this morning represents my intention to align with the one power of life within. The one power of life hears my intention, accepts my invitation, and meets me on the floor to dance. And so we dance.
It's the moment of creation. It's an everlasting peace. It's the freedom of forgiveness. It's the sweetness of release. It's the joy of inspiration. It's the sunlight on your face. It's the birthright of all nations. It's the boundlessness of space. It's the beauty of a baby, the serenity of sleep. It's the anger we abandon, for it's love that's most deep. It's one power. Oh, it's one power. It's the power of the love that lives in you and me. It's the power of the love in you and me. One power, one power, one power, one power, one power, one power.
The spirit likes to dress up like this: 10 fingers, 10 toes. It could float, of course, but would rather plumb rough matter. airy and shapeless thing, it needs the metaphor of the body, lime and appetite, the oceanic fluids. It needs the body's world, instinct and imagination, and the dark hug of time, sweetness and tangibility, to be understood, to be more than pure light that burns where no one is. So it enters us in the morning, shines from brute comfort like a stitch of lightning, and at night lights up the deep and wondrous drownings of the body like a star.
I am a child of the living God, made in the image of perfect love. All that I am, all I've been given, to you, my God, I surrender. I surrender. I am a child of the living God, made in the image of perfect love. All that I am, all I've been given, to you, my God, I surrender. I surrender.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. So a couple of announcements for you. Next week, we have our hospitality coming up. So in addition to celebrating all of our fathers, we will be having a superhero hospitality day. So if you feel so inspired, you're welcome to wear a superhero costume next week. There's another camp that we will be participating in this summer for kids who are 7 to 11 years old, whether they attend Unity or just other friends who are not part of Unity. It'll be a day camp the first week of August, and I'll be one of the counselors at the camp, and we'll be having it at Seattle Unity. So I have information available about that if anybody is interested. And next week, you will get to hear the song that we've been working on, which has been an incredibly fun process. And Jackson is, the kids have been really involved in the whole songwriting process. So Jackson has a couple of words he'd like to share about that.
All right, so some of the things I liked about about the workshop is how Steve inspired us to share our ideas together when we went into our groups and we wrote down some stuff. And then the main two that we liked were love and harmony, which how he took all of our ideas and he combined them into the song about love and harmony. So.
Thank you for being our family. Thank you for being our friend. Thank you for blessing and teaching us. God bless you. Amen. All that I am, all I've been given, to you, my God, I surrender.
Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Unity in Lynnwood. We're so very glad that you are here. If you haven't heard this message yet, you're going to hear it again today. Everyone is welcome here in this place. And if you think, does that mean me? Yes, it means you and you and you and you. Dr. Richard's going to say a little bit more about, later in the service, about what our inclusivity means here at Unity in Lynnwood. So hold on. But for now, just know that you are welcome with open arms into this place, and you, if you would like, can call this place home. Today is Sacred Service Sunday, and here at Unity in Lynnwood, we teach service as a powerful spiritual discipline. And here to say a little bit more about that is our Associate Minister, the Reverend Nina Clark.
Good morning. Wow. So I had the profound privilege of flying to Culver City, California this past week to attend the Wednesday evening service taught by Reverend Michael Beckwith at Agape International Spiritual Center. There's a group of about 8 of us who went. 8 of us and Mikey. It was a magical evening, and as you can imagine, being me and given my role here, I checked out the people in service, see what they were up to down there. And knowing what I know about our community, I knew that in addition to the dedicated individuals who were out front welcoming and ushering and working in the gift shop and contributing to the service itself, that there were many other equally committed people working behind the scenes that I didn't see, working together to make that service happen. And I got to tell you, watching all that, I found myself filled with gratitude for you here, who are in service here at Unity in Lynnwood. The consciousness that you bring to what you do here, the level of love and welcome that you emanate. And as my mind wandered from team to team, from ministry to ministry, because make no bones about it, what you guys do here is ministry. What rose to my attention again and again is the love and the joy and the commitment that you bring to what you do in this community. And I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you. And if you are not yet in service and would like to join one of these amazing teams and work alongside one or several of these awesome people and inspiring people, you can see me after service because I would love to open that door for you. Thank you and blessings.
Thank you, Reverend Nina. You know, I'm sure that all of you have had this experience where you maybe put on an outfit you really like one morning, like for Sunday morning or an event that you're going to, you get all gussied up and someone says, hey, you look good. Nice, I like that outfit. You look sharp in that. Have you had that experience before? Yeah, maybe even already today you've had that. Yeah, that feels good, right? Have you ever been, otherwise, have you also been going along life just sort of minding your own business, just doing what you do, and someone connects with you in a way that says something about some inner quality that they see in you, something about your character, something about the future they see in you. Maybe it's someone important in your life when you were a youth, or maybe a colleague or something like that. They see something in you beyond which you have maybe been recognizing in yourself. I know I had this when I was a youth at camp and when I was in high school, and there was a camp counselor who was someone I really respected, and I was just hanging out in my cabin on the top bunk, just hanging with the other guys in there, and this fella came to the window, and he just sort of stopped me in the moment and just said some things about what he saw in me, what he perceived about me and my future, and some really good things ahead for me, and it was so moving to me. And I think about currently in my life, in this community, where I hear that from you, where I hear it from prayer chaplains, where I hear it from Dr. Richard and Matthew, I hear it from my lovely wife, things in me that sometimes I forget about myself. Do you have that experience sometimes? Yes? When you're going along, minding your own business, and someone sees in you something that is special in their eyes. And in that process, they name it and they call it forth, right? And then we are more likely to sort of maybe step into that. When we talk about this community being that which supports each other in prayer, that is what we're talking about. We're talking about seeing in each other that which is beyond the surface and then calling that forward, knowing the power and infinite possibilities that each of us brings to the situations that we have in our lives. So when you fill out a prayer slip in the seat back in front of you, when you call the confidential prayer line or leave a prayer request on our website, or even come to the front after the service to meet with one of our prayer chaplains, what's going to happen in that process isn't that you are going to submit a terrible situation to them, someone who's more connected to God somehow, and they're going to then pray to God, and then God is going to do God's work to like switch the situation in your life to make it better so you feel good. Okay, that's like, I don't know, maybe that works. Maybe that's an idea, but I think it's something more aligned with we see in one another that which is potential and possibility and divine wholeness in one another, and we offer support to one another in that. So when we offer that to a prayer chaplain after the service, they're going to see every good coming forth in us, and then in that process, We name it, we know it, we call it forth. And whether the circumstances change in our life or not, and oftentimes they do, we know that we will be in those circumstances differently. That is what we mean by a community of prayer support. Emily Cady says this: "We do not have to beseech God any more than we have to beseech the sun to shine, and it cannot help it. No more can God help pouring into us unlimited wisdom, life, power, all good, because to give is the law of God's being." And Reverend Linda Martella Whitsitt says this about affirmative prayer: "We pray asserting our divine identity so we may express our divine identity. We pray so that we embody our divine nature." Today's affirmation is on the screen there, and I'm going to go ahead and read it once. As I do, let's consider how we can open our lives and our experience to this, and then I'm going to invite you to join with me. All that I am, I offer on the altar of love. Would you like to stand? And together. All that I am, I offer at the altar of love. Let's take a few minutes to greet one another, and then we have some awesome music. Yeah.
Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah.
Will you please give a warm welcome back to Jaya, Lakshmi, and Ananda?
Good morning.
Good morning.
We'll just continue with that affirmation. We'll just sing it to the sweetness of our souls. And all that I am, I offer at the altar of love. All that I am, I offer at the altar of love. In sweet surrender, in sweet surrender. And all that I am, I I offer at the altar of love. All that I am, I offer at the altar of love. In sweet surrender, in sweet surrender. Sing along now. And all that I am, I offer at the altar of love. Let's hear you. Oh, in sweet surrender. Yes. All that I am, I offer at the altar of love. All that I am, I offer at the altar of love. Yes, in sweet surrender, in sweet surrender. All that I am, I offer at the altar of love. Everybody. Oh, in sweet surrender. Everybody. One more time, in sweet surrender. One more time, in sweet surrender. All right, feels good. Feels good this morning, guys. Wrapped up in here.
So here's a song I've been singing for over 10 years, and it seems to be a medicine song in a way for the transformation that so many of us are going through in so many levels as we go on in life. So if you know it, please sing along, and if you learn, just join in when you can. Now is the time when I let go of my fears, inhibitions, and sense of dread. When I give up control and I let you hold me with no resistance in my soul. Now is the time when I let go of my fears, inhibitions, and sense of dread. When I give up control and I let you hold me with no resistance in my soul. This is the day when I throw it all away into the fire of the all-loving one. Oh, now I have Here is the place where I fall into grace and release into the sweetness of your love. I surrender, I remember the light and the beauty that I am. Here is the place where I fall into grace and release into the sweetness of your love. I surrender, I remember the light and the beauty that I am. This is the day when I throw it all away into the fire of the all-loving one. Oh, now I have just what I need to be free, to feel who I really am. Oh, this is the day when I throw it all away into the fire of the all-loving one. Oh, now I have just what I need to be free, to feel who I really am, who I really am. This is the day when I throw it all away into the fire of the all-loving one. Now I have just what I need to be free, to feel who I really am.
You'll come see us again, right? I'm thinking that a concert of some sort would be in order. What do you think? Somebody put wheels on my thing. It's going to be a fun morning, I'm telling you. Going to be a fun morning. Might end up in your neighborhood. Look out. Have to learn how to drive it. Thank you. Oh, the author writes, we've been convinced that we need to strive for divine approval to earn our way into the heavenly kingdom. Consider, though, that our striving for spiritual progress discounts the truth of our oneness with the one that is the eternal, irrepressible, immutable all. God is all that, and we are one with God. Therefore, moment by moment, we are capable of being what God is, not by climbing and by crawling. We are God by living, by loving, by giving, by celebrating. What do you think? That's Reverend Linda Martella Whitsett. She is the Vice President of Silent Unity, the acclaimed author of titles such as How to Pray Without Talking to God and Divine Audacity. Marianne Williamson, of course, is coming up at the Edmonds Center for the Arts on the 30th of June, 7 o'clock p.m. Tickets are available through their website. We are the proud producers and hosts of this event. How proud we are to offer two such leading voices in June alone. Linda will be with us for an all-community retreat. There are 20 spots remaining. Registration forms are available in the back, or you may register online. The $99 registration fee includes all catered meals, all materials, plus snacks. For those who want snacks, yes. Oh. It's valued at over $90. It's a Father's Day gift basket filled with delicious items. Please consider having a perusal of it in the spiritual gift shop. Buy your $5 raffle ticket for the father of your choice. Every service has an ambassador. This person's role, yet again, is to support you in your exploration and discovery of this divine, evolving idea we call unity in Lynnwood. So if you have a question about who we are, about what we believe, about what we teach, you are welcome to engage her in conversation. Her name is Nan Allen. Will you wave to these kind people, please? Nan. Wow. Getting hoots and hollers, Nan. Practical spirituality. Practical spirituality welcoming community. A mission statement that is short in word, but long in idea. So every week I like to support this with one of the 6 bullet points which we developed in conversation with your Board of Trustees beginning in late 2014. Take a deep breath with me. Let's consider whether this is a position in consciousness, whether this is a spiritual value with which we can align. It reads as follows: we welcome people from all spiritual traditions or from no spiritual tradition whatsoever into every arena of our community. What do you think? You good with that? Yeah, me too. Good morning, Unity in Lynnwood. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to my favorite day of the week. You know, there are things that we simply don't talk about in church. And if they do get mentioned before church or during hospitality or in the parking lot, they are mentioned in a whisper. You know, I heard she's not really in real estate school. I heard she's in rehab. And if we don't give all addictions the whisper treatment, let's at least acknowledge that certain addictions get more of the whisper treatment than others. I mean, we might jostle with someone about smoking, but we would never jostle with someone about drinking. We might poke fun with someone about his Facebook compulsion, but his online gambling would be reserved for hushed conversations while the kids brush their teeth. And how about this one? You know, I heard his brother is an atheist. Why is it that we are afraid to discuss atheism in church? Maybe it's because our embedded theology spark fears reminiscent of any number of 1970s horror flicks. You know the ones that usually involve lightning. And why is it always raining in those movies anyway? And a steeple toppling from some Christian church to impale a wayward soul. Or do we consider it disrespectful to discuss atheism in church? That to discuss atheism in church is like going to a dinner party at Conan O'Brien's and talking about NBC's quality programming, or shooting hoops with Larry Bird and talking about Magic Johnson's technique. There are things we just don't talk about in church. I can only imagine that you grew up in a Sunday school program similar to mine. I can only imagine that you learned early on, all dressed up in those pressed plaid shorts, your cute bow tie, hair all plastered to your head with Vitalis. You learned early on that the whisper treatment would be applied to all who expressed doubt of the day's widely held dogma. Why, excuse me, ma'am, I can hear one young boy's voice rising even now, but how can any one religion be the religion? How can God be available only to people of a certain era, a certain geography? And what about all the others? Do they just go to hell? And what about the children who don't know enough to perform the prescribed rituals? Do they just go to hell as well? And if so, where exactly is this hell? And if sin will keep me from heaven, but God will always forgive, then why not party through life, beg for forgiveness during that last hour, and slip through the pearly gates with all the nuns and Girl Scouts? Yeah, that sort of questioning will get you the whisper treatment. Or maybe God is threatened by my questions. Maybe I am intimidating to the great all that is, to the very creative impetus which has stood behind, between, within, through, and as all life since the beginning of time. Maybe God is afraid that I will ask a question for which there is no answer, somehow leaving him or her or whatever looking like a political candidate who has been bested by a student reporter from the local community college. There are things we don't talk about in church. And yet here we are. Welcome to Unity in Lynnwood. Yeah, baby. Now, from the outset, please know that we are crystal clear on our position. And I quote, because we celebrate, honor, and affirm the divine presence in every person, we welcome you. We welcome your thoughts and ideas, for they add to our discourse. We welcome your gifts and talents, for they add to our resources. We welcome everyone into our community without regard to age, abilities, race, religious beliefs, cultural background, gender, or orientation. Welcome to Unity in Lynnwood. How beautiful is that? We are crystal clear on our position. You see, we believe that you are spiritual in nature and human in experience. In other words, the highest you began long before you assumed that earthly form, and the highest you will continue long after you relinquish that earthly form. I like to say that each of us has a foot dragging the dust of earth and a hand grasping the infinity of heaven, not sequentially but simultaneously. In other words, each of us has a foot dragging the dust of earth and a hand grasping the infinity of heaven at the same time. It's not that this experience of foot dragging isn't reality. My apologies to our Course in Miracles folk. It's just that this experience of foot dragging isn't the only reality, much less the highest reality. And to be more oriented toward that foot dragging the dust of earth is to define life according to human experience, while to be more oriented toward that hand grasping the eternity of heaven is to define life according to spiritual nature. And while some traditions would have us choose, I don't think we are to relinquish one for the other. I think we are to embrace the full gift of this earthly experience, to hug cherished souls, to taste German coffees, to smell freshly cut grass, to hear seagulls. I think we are to embrace the full gift of this earthly experience while recognizing that there are higher realities than those which can be touched, tasted, smelled, or heard. And isn't that why we meditate? Isn't that why we pray? Isn't that why we serve, why we study? Isn't that why we attend events such as this, to open to higher realities than those which can be touched, tasted, smelled, or heard? And our understanding that as we open to those higher realities, we find our earthly experience enriched. Unity uses the word God to represent not a distant male deity on a cloud who blesses some, who curses others, who could generally benefit from a good mood stabilizer. We use the word God rather to represent life, those eternal currents which are ever pressing themselves into and out of form. Simply look at the beauty beyond these windows, won't you? Look at that. To represent love, not a Hollywood love that gives you everything you think you want with virtually no involvement, commitment, or evolvement on your part whatsoever, but a love that gives of its allness and grants you in every moment the freedom to choose. We use the word God to represent wisdom, that realm of knowingness, that realm of creativity and inspiration in which we find ourselves and each other. And I do hope you get the distinction. I hope you get the distinction because I think it's an important one. In traditional verbiage, one might think of God as alive and loving and wise. We do not. Rather, we offer God as life itself, as love itself, as wisdom itself. And because you cannot exist outside of the allness of the life, love, and wisdom we call God, we would say that ours is to avail ourselves to higher and higher realizations, higher and higher recognitions of the life, love, and wisdom in which we are immersed, from which we sprang. You see, in traditional verbiage, the human creature is like a fish who prays for water. We would say, however, that the better prayer would be the one that wakes the fish up to the realization and recognition of the water in which he lives and moves and has his being. You see, the issue isn't divine givingness. The issue is human receivingness. We tend to think that God needs a bigger hose, when in truth, we just need bigger buckets. And that's the heart of what Unity would call affirmative prayer. So we believe you are spiritual in nature and human in experience. And as we become more oriented toward that foot dragging the dust of earth, in other words, as we become more oriented toward the earthly experience than the spiritual nature, we define life as old and young. We define life as black or white. We define life as male or female, tall or short, Eastern or Western. And yes, as we become more oriented toward that earthly experience than that spiritual nature, we begin to define life as gay or straight. And the problem with this level of reality is that too many fearful humans eventually weaponize old against young, black against white, male against female. Too many fearful humans eventually weaponize gay against straight. But as we become more oriented toward that hand grasping the eternity of heaven, in other words, as we become more oriented toward the spiritual nature than the earthly experience, we begin to define life in broader terms. Labels such as old and young fade in weight as we come to grasp that the highest self wasn't born, the highest self doesn't die. The highest self has no concept of aging or time or wrinkles around the eyes. The highest self has no attachment to the trinkets over which humanity would do such fierce battle. And labels such as black or white fade in weight as we come to grasp that the highest self has no concept of race or ethnicity. The highest self isn't American or Russian or Chinese, North Korean or South Korean. The highest self couldn't care less about the results from Ancestry.com because the highest self knows that we're all siblings in the same family and that it's a good family. And labels such as male or female, gay or straight, and thank God for these young people who continue to evolve us beyond even this binary thinking. Labels such as male or female, gay or straight fade in weight as we come to grasp that the highest self is genderless soul stuff, growing, developing, unfolding as best as it can through whatever physical form it happens to inhabit at any and every given moment in history. I have to wonder if such thinking isn't what Judaism's most famous rabbi, Christianity's most central avatar, meant when he reminded us that it is truth that shall set us free. I mean, think about it. If his truth was that which could be touched, tasted, if his truth was that which could be smelled or heard, we really wouldn't have needed his reminder now, would we? I mean, that level of reality is really quite easy to navigate. And while scholars seem to universally agree that Jesus had absolutely nothing to say on this topic of gay and God, I would respectfully disagree. I think he was crystal clear on the subject. In referencing the only Bible he knew, and he did know it quite well, in referencing the only Bible he knew, he spoke to issues of age and race, of gender and yes, orientation. When he said this, he said, people, love God and love each other. We're living in a time when a new consciousness is rising. Let's dance. We're living at a time when a new consciousness is rising, pressing each person as to whether he will or she will maintain homophobic prejudices or follow such a dictate to love. And the decision is not both and. The decision is either or. These are mutually exclusive ideas. We are living in a time when a new consciousness is rising, a growing recognition that the only transgression, if we insist upon having a transgression, is that some were born with an orientation which is different from some societal norm, much like being left-handed, much like being red-headed. We're living in a time when a new consciousness is rising, challenging half-interpretations of wisdom teachings, half-interpretations which offer the woman as a secondary creation needing a man, the child as a flawed creation needing a savior, and the homosexual as an ill creation needing a cure. We're living in a time when a new consciousness is rising, slowly quieting the so-called defenders of the clear teachings of the Bible. And in this new consciousness, religion will either mature or it will continue to suffer the sad consequences of its own stale stubbornness. We are living in a time when a new consciousness is rising. And it's in such a consciousness that I envision these very seats supporting thinkers such as Socrates and Aristotle, champions such as Martina Navratilova, Billie Jean King, artists such as Michelangelo, Da Vinci, Warhol, musicians such as Tchaikovsky, Cole Porter, Melissa Etheridge, Elton John, wordsmiths such as Langston Hughes, Lord Byron, Oscar Wilde. It's in such a consciousness that I envision these very seats supporting these souls, not because their earthly orientation matters, but because their spiritual genius does. It's in such a consciousness that I envision these very seats elevated from receptacles of tolerance to thrones of celebration for nothing less than the very life of the divine, overflowing in the creative richness and incredible beauty of its own expression. Let's take a deep breath together. How good it is to be together. How good it is to realize that while I can have any number of experiences, the truth of me is that I am an emanation of life itself. Let's take that together. I am an emanation of life itself. Good it is to recognize that while we can have any number of experiences, we can lift my eyes into the recognition that I am an emanation of love itself. Let's try that together. I am an emanation of love itself. That while we can have any number of experiences, there's something in us that remembers I am an emanation of wisdom itself. I am an emanation of wisdom itself. While we can have any number of experiences, we get to come together and support each other in that higher recognition, in that higher realization that I am an emanation of divine sufficiency, and I am an emanation of divine sufficiency. How good it is.
And all I ask is to serve you. This is my only prayer. All I ask is to serve you. This is my only prayer, now and forever. Now and forever. Now and forever. Now and forever. And all I ask is to serve you. This is my humble prayer. All I ask is to serve you. This is my humble prayer, now and forever. Now and forever. Now and forever. Now and forever.
Into this awareness of unity in its finest sense, to this awareness of oneness, we say, may I be so. And to this awareness of peace, to this higher awareness of our inherent brotherhood, our inherent sisterhood, we silently say, may we be so. And on behalf of all who have turned a spiritual ear yet again to this very conversation, whether they be seen or unseen, whether they be in form or beyond form, we join them. And closing this time of communion by silently saying, and so it is, and so it is, and so it is.
Thank you, Lakshmi. Thank you, Ananda. So beautiful, transporting. And thank you, Dr. Richard. May our world know more and more the truth of which you remind us, to love God and love each other, no matter what. Yeah, it's good. Fabulous. Now's the time in our service where we have an opportunity to give. And it was Dr. Maya Angelou who said this: when we give cheerfully and we accept gratefully, everyone is blessed. Thank you for your gifts.
Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen. Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen. Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen.
Let's bless these gifts together. Thank you, God, that your living spirit of truth expressing through us blesses and multiplies all that we are, all that we have, all that we give, and all that we receive. And so it is. Thank you, ushers. Every Sunday, I love seeing everyone here, and I know we love seeing each other. And we also love seeing anyone who might be visiting us for the first time. We love first-time guests. If you are visiting us for the first time, you can orient yourself to the cards in front of you in the seat. There's a newcomer's information card and a stay-in-touch card. And if you leave your contact information on that, you can stay current on things happening here at Unity in Lynnwood. Also, in the information rack just to the left of the door as you leave the sanctuary is a packet with the DVD in it, as well as an informational card that has our mission on it and the several values that support it. If you are here for the first time today and you'd like to be recognized, could you just put your hand in the air and we will give you a round of applause? Anyone here for the first time? Hi, nice to see you. Good to see you. Nice to see you. We're so glad you're here, and you're certainly welcome to join us in Friendship Hall for some refreshments and continued conversation after service as well. And I just want to remind everyone, if you ever have an emergent need during the service, just raise your hand to get the attention of one of the ushers or someone beside you, and our welcome team stands at the ready to support you. We have several announcements today. Today's beautiful flowers, I don't know if you've seen them, gorgeous bouquet there. They are dedicated by Brian and Phyllis Hole. Happy 35th wedding anniversary. Where are you? There you are. It's a good day. And also to Cheryl and Nadine from Roxy with appreciation. Yes, good. If you would like to dedicate flowers, please register in the gift shop for a suggested offering of just $10. And Interfaith at UIL presents Spiritual Saturdays with Rabbi Ted Falcon on the 16th at 11 a.m. Share the healing space of the traditions of the Jewish Sabbath, supported with music by Jack and Jenny Hutmaker. Thank you, Rabbi Ted. Please join our grounds team leader, Cheryl Jones, in sprucing up our grounds from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. this Saturday. Lunch will be provided. Shout out. That's good. For cleaning up. Awesome. And the beautiful result. Please register and bring gloves, and thank you for your service to our community. Adult education continues with The Essentials of Charles Fillmore on June Tuesdays. This course examines the life, teaching, and works of this larger-than-life individual. We will use reading, discussion, reflection, writing, and practice in what Mr. Fillmore called practical Christianity, facilitated by licensed Unity teachers Jack and Angela Ekram, and please register. Welcome as well. Our health and wellness ministry invites you to The Body as a Temple of the Soul, our lighthearted movement experience combining music and relaxation, facilitated by Nancy Joy Callahan on the 20th. Wear comfortable clothes and bring a mat or blanket. And of course, all good things and others the details of those can be found in our printed program, on our Facebook page, or the calendar page of our website at unityandlynnwood.org.
And our lovely guests are going to be with Amma the Hugging Saint this afternoon, so we send love and blessings with you. And they also have some amazing product for sale in the Friendship Hall, so please stop by and visit them. If you'll join me, we'll sing our peace song. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, united all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
I just have this theory that we would solve 90% of the Earth's issues if we came into agreement and recognition of this higher reality that we are not defined by the bodies we carry around, that we are soul stuff. Imagine what that would do to the relations between races. Imagine what that would do for the relationships between religions. Just imagine. Imagine how it would render these conversations about gender and orientation absolutely unnecessary. The highest you is not that bag of carbon and atoms you're toting around. The highest you is evolving, unfolding soul stuff made of an unlimited and infinite nature. That is the highest truth of you. I consider it part of my job to see that for you, to see that on your behalf, to see that in you, so that in any experience that is less than that, you have somebody here who will say with you and for you, there is a higher truth of you. And it is there that I stand. Let's take a deep breath together. If there is anyone else, any other first name you'd like to introduce into that consciousness, please speak that name now. And so we say yes. It is that hand reaching the eternities of heaven that we orient ourselves toward on your behalf. It's a truth anchored in the eternal realities of life, anchored in the eternal realities of wisdom, anchored in the eternal realities of love, anchored in the eternal realities of divine sufficiency. And so it's with great faith then and with great boldness that we lift our voices together and speak these closing words. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us.
The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is.
And all is well.
The light of God surrounds us. The power of God protects. The presence of God watches over us, and all is well. The love of God enfolds us. Wherever we are, God is. We are safe, we are cherished, and all is well. All is well.
We close as we always do, and so it is, and so it is, and so it is.